Good evening, everyone. Very nice to have you all in here. Happy Tuesday to everyone. I'm still forgetting every day that we're on at the moment. The bank holidays properly throw me out of alignment at the moment. But thank you all for joining us. We are Forest Fans Hub, and we've got a plethora of guests joining us today. Some new faces, some you may recognise from other channels, and some who are joining us for the very first time who are often in the chat as well. So thank you to all of our guests who are coming here today. We will open it up as well to anyone else who wants to join us and have their say about the game on Sunday, the game tomorrow, any transfer news, anything Forest, anything football. We'd love to have everybody on who's welcome to come on. So we'll open it up. We'll go around all of our panel that we've got on for this evening. So we'll start off with my regular guest, Ez. Hello, Ez. How you doing?
I'm really good, mate. I'm really good. I'm glad you've taken the hosting duties off me for today. But yeah, really great to see some new faces. So we've got some new faces, and we've got Golden Oldie. I'll let you guess which is which. So one by one, we'll pass on, and I'll pass on to Kane. Introduce yourself, please, my friend, and how you found came to be on our channel today.
Yeah, I feel weird. I feel like I'm on like this, big show. It's, great production, great production values, all of that. I live in Spain, so I don't really get much chance to speak to Forest fans, like this. So to have this sort of hub like this is absolutely fantastic. So just followed you guys, saw it posted, started watching, and I thought, this is cool. I'd like to get involved in that. So yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for following us, and you're always more than welcome to come on and have your say. And you're probably, out of all of us here, you're probably in the best position to maybe say something about Renan Lodi if you've been living in Spain and had an eye on what's happening in La Liga. So we'll definitely be going over to you if you know a bit more about him that we don't. So just go through some more of the comments before we move on to our next guest. So James, thank you very much for joining us. Eve, as always, thank you very much for joining us. And of course, you can come on later, show us your drawings, talk about all the games that have come on. And then Kel, very nice to have you as well. Thank you for joining us. And we'll move down to the man who's just below me at the moment, one of the regulars in the chat, first time on the stream. Warren, how you doing?
Hi, Joe. How are you? Thank you very much for having us on, guys. First time on. I was on door a couple of times, and like Joe said, I'm a regular commenter. So yeah, thanks for having us on. Looking forward to a bit more Forest chat, because you can never have enough.
No problem. Thanks for joining us. We're really looking forward to having you on, because I'm always looking through the comments and I always think you have a very good point and have a lot to say. So I'm looking forward to
very kind of you to say.
Today. So we'll then move along to the man next to him, who's probably more of a YouTube royalty than some of the rest of us. He's definitely probably more of a seasoned veteran to this game. It's David, otherwise known as Rads. Rads, how you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you all. Lots of familiar faces. It's always good to see a new Forest channel coming out as well. So I'm pleased to be part of it. Very excited for the Man City game, which I'm sure we'll cover, as well as obviously the Tottenham match as well. So thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us again. And then we'll move on to the man in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm sure who needs no introduction whatsoever. He is a seasoned vet and probably one of the best person you could ask to give any kind of a monologue about Forest. It's Mr. Dave Asprey. How you doing, Dave?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Joe, and good to see all you lads. Thanks very much for the invite. It's a pleasure to be on. It beats watching the EFL because I haven't got BT Sports. Special hellos to Warren, who I saw on door last week, very sound guy, and Kane, who I've not encountered before. My love to the Costa del Sol, Kane.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the Costa del Sol sends its love back to you, mate, with all the sun and sweaty parts with it.
Lovely view of it behind you there, Kane. Can I just say?
Well, this is how I sit when I watch the games. I'll sit like this and just picture a Mulligan tyre, singing it out.
Brilliant, mate.
Yeah, so thank you all very much for joining us again, and hopefully we'll have a really good show together. We'll be talking about all the games that have been, what's coming up, what else is happening in the league. And I think on the talk about that image that's best behind Kane there, I think that's probably a good place to move on, talking about the game that was there on Sunday. Again, very lucky and very privileged to have been able to get to that game and meet so many of the lovely people that we've had in our chat and on our stream. That was probably one of the main highlights of our day, other than the way that the team performed. I know the result didn't quite go our way, but I think overall we played really well. And Ez, what did you think about the game? Because we got to have a chat before and after and sit together and talk through it while the game was going on. So how did you see it going?
Yeah, well, just initially to reiterate what you said, one of the best things about the day was meeting so many people, and I did get to meet Rads that day, met Dave, and we had a bit of a. It was really weird. It was a bit of a reunion of our Forest fans and the family, and it was great. It was really great. So that made the day even better. But I agree with you that our performance was really good. We went toe to toe with them, and they're a top 4 team. They will be a top 4 team again this season. And we didn't disgrace ourselves. There was a couple of things we were lacking, but you can put that as much down to lack of time, cohesive time together, as much as anything else, But the chances we could have done a little bit better with, but our overall play, I was really proud of, and we didn't come out of that game with anything less than our heads held high. And I think the fans were fantastic on the day, as we both witnessed as well. So that was an amazing. It was a great day, And we walked out a little bit glum and solemn, but in reflection, we gave almost as good as we got against a very, very good team. So on reflection, I'm happy with the performance more than anything else. And the result wasn't what we wanted, but the performance was spot on. So I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we can all see, everyone who else was fortunate enough to be able to watch it in the ground, we could see that every single player left it all on the line. They didn't walk off the pitch, and any of them had any kind of energy left, and maybe would go for an extra 5 or 10 minutes. Did that translate when you were watching it, Kane, when you watch it on TV?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the crowd, as ever, at the City Ground was absolutely unreal. And
Yeah.
But I will say something about the Sky commentators. They picked up. They didn't. Obviously they talked about the atmosphere at the City Ground being immense and it's electric, but the whole way through they didn't mention anything about the Forest fans constantly singing, even though we went 1-0 down 5 minutes in. When Tottenham went 2-0 up, and I think it was like the 84th, 85th minute, they started singing. Yeah. All of a sudden, the Sky commentators started going, well, the Tottenham Hotspur fans are in fine voice. I never heard them once. Until they were 2-0 up, But yeah, they come across so well. And watching the way we played on Sunday was great to watch. It was nice. I don't get to go to many games, so I do have to watch it on TV. So I know there's a lot of football there that I am missing. A lot of off the ball movement. That the camera doesn't see. But from what I saw there, I was very impressed, and I'm very excited to see more and how we develop.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was definitely a very good performance by every single fan that was in the ground, as well as all the players who were on the pitch. Warren, were there any standout players for you throughout, or would you kind of just say every single man left it all on the pitch and they're all as good as each other and played as well as a team?
It's difficult to pick anyone out, isn't it? Because I think everyone played so well on Sunday. There wasn't really anyone who was head and shoulders above everyone else. Henderson, obviously, some important saves. I know we lost, 2 goals, but the penalty save and the save from Son, once again, he lifts the team. O'Brien never stopped running in all game. So overall, I wouldn't, apart from maybe those two very, very slightly, there's not many players you could single out. I think it was a real good team performance. But I'm going to sat Monday morning thinking about it again, as you do. You keep dwelling on these things. And I cannot, I made this comment last night, I cannot remember the last time we lost by 2 goals or more, and I didn't feel that disappointed. I was good that we lost, but there were so many positives on Sunday. And it's such a good feeling to know that we've lost to a team, the top 4. We're not expected to beat top 4 teams this season, but to come away from that game, and Steve Cooper will have them in on Monday in the training room, showing them the video and saying, look, all these great things. There are these negatives, that we've got to address. There's a lot of positives on Sunday. It was a really good performance.
Definitely, yeah. I think we can all agree with that, and we all really enjoyed watching that brilliant performance. Rads, onto you. What did you make of the game? Do you think, same again, although we lost by 2 goals, it was still a really good performance and we've got lots to look forward to? Or do you think there's some clear weaknesses that maybe we have to start to address before we come to more games, especially the one coming up tomorrow?
I agree with what everyone's been saying, to be honest. We knew it was likely to be a defeat potentially. I think a lot of us were maybe a tad too optimistic, maybe before the game, because we were getting a bit carried away, not realizing that ultimately it is Tottenham. Like we've all been saying, they're a top 4 side. It's not going to be easy, and it wasn't. But there was plenty of positives, as we've been saying. I think particularly the start of the second half, we looked well up for it, and that's what I love about the way we play under Cooper. Is so many of the Forest managers in the past would have just try to not concede again, not try and score or get back into the game. But we were well up for it to just get a point at the very least. And I don't even think we would have been trying to do that. We were trying to win. And yeah, it did leave us a bit exposed for Spurs to easily just counter on us. But, the only way we're going to try and get back into the game is to attack them, obviously. So yeah, there's plenty of positives to take. Disappointing to lose, obviously, but by no means at all was I annoyed or angry with how it went in terms of performance, because it's a learning curve. Man City's going to be even harder, but we're going to get games like this season, and I think a lot of people have been talking about Bournemouth, how they had a difficult start. It isn't all based off just playing these top 6 sides. Your season isn't defined by that, and we have got more winnable games coming up, like at the weekend against Bournemouth. So yeah, plenty of positives to take from the game for sure.
Definitely, and I think we'll easily be able to carry all of those positives into the next game at the City Ground at the weekend against a team who we realistically are competing against in part of our mini league to try and stay into the Premier League next season. On to you then, Dave. Finally, for that game, I think Rad's really hit on a good point there where Cooper stuck to his guns and then did start to play more attacking football, especially into the second half, to try and get back into the game. Do you think that was the right decision from Cooper? Do you think he played as well as we could have done with the team that we had, and then played the right kind of made the right decisions and tactics at the right time?
Well, lads, he didn't die wondering, did he? He went for it. What I liked about Forest, beyond the disappointment of the defeat, because any defeat for Nottingham Forest is a disappointment, because Nottingham Forest is in our hearts. Beyond the feeling that we could have been better in either box, and no blame, no shame, none of that. Stand together, fall together. But beyond that, and as Steve said in his post-match, we don't need to be narrow-minded. So looking at it, there were lots and lots of positives. And I like the fact that Forest went, okay, so you Tottenham Hotspur, we're not going to do like so many promoted sides have done previously, and we're just going to sit there and hope you don't batter us too much. And I like the fact that Forest took the game to them. I mean, where you learn that it's the Premier League is we went at him for the first 5 minutes or whatever, and it was all Forest. You thought, wow, what a lovely start. First touch of Harry Kane's boot, we 1-0 down. But that's, as has been alluded to by the lads before, our club has come the furthest in the shortest period of time, probably, of any football club on this planet. So the steepness of their learning curve and the sort of rapidity of their education is like, it's a huge challenge. I mean, it was a big lesson that you went into on Sunday. I think tomorrow night we're going to get the biggest education in football at the moment you can get, certainly from a domestic point of view. I actually think we're playing the best team on earth tomorrow night. But Steve, being Steve,
sorry, cool.
Yeah, but Steve, being Steve, will think, what a great challenge for me. What a great challenge for the boys. What a great challenge for the coaching staff. What a great challenge for the whole club, basically, for the supporters who are going. So I think there's lots of good to come out of it. There are, admittedly, the way I look at it, nothing's ever black, nothing's ever totally white. There are nuances and there are shades of grey. And and you have to seek the good sometimes. There are pearls in the swine, you know. And I thought there were lots of them. I thought Morgan Gibbs-White, given the pressure on him and the spotlight on him, had a really good game. I thought he worked nicely with Jesse and with Brennan. The defence, yeah, it's lacking a bit of pace, but the first goal, it doesn't come off Lewis O'Brien's shin into the path of Kulusevski. Well, then you don't know. Second goal, well, the second goal actually was a little bit of a failing, but a collective failing. So those aside, there was lots to like. But what I like was Forest's attitude. We're here now. We've waited 23 years. Let's at least have a crack. And it was really nice. And I like the fact that they were a little bit upstartish. There was a bit during the game where Martin Tyler on Sky Commentary said, Forest are trying to out-football Tottenham. And I thought, what a really good thing to say. And why should that not be? What, Forest are meant to stay there and just doff their caps to Tottenham? Yeah. And the same will happen tomorrow night. We may pay the price for it, but at least Forest have shown character, right? And the two things I've got from talking to neutrals who've come up to me, who know I'm a Forest fan, from Sunday, is that, well, we really like the way Forest approached the game. That was one thing. And there's lots of potential to get better. It's the sort of defeat that Brighton had when they came up, Leeds had when they came up, Villa came up, and then they managed to learn the lessons and consolidate, right? But the other thing, and as all you five guys have said, about the atmosphere in the ground. I mean, the moment I remember is Harry Kane scores, and there was about 10 seconds of being stunned, and then everybody in the ground went, Forest are magic, on off the pitch, and it continued again. Now, back in the day, that would have been the start of booing and moaning and everything, but not now. So I think, you know, a year to the day, Sunday, Derby County away, and we were happy with a point there.
Yeah.
Look how far we've come. It's an astonishing rise. There are going to be bumps in the road, but I was disappointed to lose, as we all should be. I think there's lots to be proud of. Yeah,
definitely. I think you hit on a lot of good points there, Dave. So thank you for going on one of your excellent speeches there talking about the game. I think one of the big points that you hit on there, I think, was the way that Forest played and they didn't calm down. I know it's a bit harsh, especially to kick them while they're down, but Bournemouth, they went down by a couple of goals and then they went into a more of a defensive mindset. Yeah. They actually went from 4 at the back to 5 at the back and tried to save face and not concede as many as they did. Whereas Forest chased the game immediately after. I mean, conceding in the first 5 minutes, I think, was really unfortunate because then it almost swapped the roles of what you would have expected from that game. If Forest were 1-0 up, you would have said, yes, everyone's going to be parking the bus. He's going to bring everyone back. And Spurs did that from the 15th, 20th minute. You saw Kane and Son defending on the edge of the 18 as soon as one of our centre-backs carried the ball over the halfway line. So you saw that Forest played with real intent, and you could see, especially by how long they were taking between every single set play, even in the first half, they couldn't wait to get back into the changing rooms and have a chat about how they were going to be able to almost put up with that kind of onslaught that they were getting from the fans and the kind of pressure that Forest were putting on. I think, yeah, Kane, go ahead.
No, I don't think we're going to be that team this season. I don't think we're going to be the team that parks the bus. I think if we're going to go out there and lose, like, for instance, Leeds done it. When they come up, that Leeds, they played so well. All right, yeah, they got battered, but gee, God, they played and they scored goals. They played and they stayed up. You know what I mean? They stayed up because they played football, and teams were expecting, like teams like Spurs and not so much Cities, but, you know, the bigger teams were expecting them to sit there and just park the bus and go, we'll just invite the pressure on. But they didn't do that. And we're not going to do that. Steve Cooper's not going to do that. He said all along he has a way and an identity that we are going to play. And I saw part of that on Sunday. I saw an identity of Forest, and I saw it and I was like, wow, this is the club that I support. This is the club that I went and watched. All right, we smashed Swindon 7-1, and I was sat in the Lower Brinsford, but now I'm watching us play Tottenham, Man City tomorrow. We've got an identity, and I think that's what Cooper wants, and he'll get that. Sorry, yeah, sorry to interrupt there.
No, you made some really good points there. So that was really spot on. Exactly, we are building an identity, And although I feel you might fall in the same category as me and Rads, where we didn't see that kind of identity that the other extremely famous Forest manager, Sir Brian Clough, built up. We are seeing similar isms coming from Steve Cooper, where he's building a team, he's building a squad, he's building almost an entire identity throughout the team where they all have the same attitude, they're all pushing in the same direction. And you just keep on hearing the same messages of one game at a time. We won't talk about any possibilities, especially around transfers, which we've seen other teams do, where they'll acknowledge teams or players who they were after, but they didn't get. Cooper says, I don't want to talk about any of that until they're actually our players. Next man up. So I think I will then move on to Rads. As someone else who I'm sure is very excited to be able to see Forest in the Premier League, possibly for the first time. Do you have that same kind of optimism and belief that we are building something special here?
Yeah, without a doubt. And it definitely is the first time I can remember us in the Premier League. And, you know, I think it's still kind of is surreal for a lot of younger fans to see us in this position. And it's, you know, I said it on Dole's channel the other day, how my entire life supporting Forest was just, oh, can we get to the Premier League one day? Now we're actually here. So like my entire perspective is completely different now. And, you know, the only time I'll have to do that again is if we were to get relegated, but it wouldn't be 23 years.
Don't say those words.
It won't happen. It won't happen under Steve Cooper anyway. I totally agree. And you know, I definitely think there's something special happening. It's clear to see, just with the ambition. You know, if it doesn't work, then at least we can say that we tried our very best, and we didn't just do what Norwich tend to do when they come up and just basically just don't try, or it just doesn't work what they attempt to do. Whereas Forest 100% are going all out against the very best, as we've already been seeing. And you know, we'll go to Man City tomorrow, and we'll know obviously it's going to be very difficult to beat them, but we'll be going there to try and win. So you know, that's all we can ask for, to be honest. And you know, it's a very, very exciting time. It's all kind of a bit overwhelming, really, with all these new signings that are so high caliber as well. So many of them. You know, we're signing Brazil's left back and Jesse Lingard, Nico Williams, Henderson. You know, the list goes on. It's crazy, to be honest, and very exciting.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. It is extremely exciting. I'm really happy with the way that we've approached getting promoted for the first time in 23 years, as opposed to some of these other teams where they almost try and do the bare minimum to try and grab that 18th spot and then try and claw their way up over the years, which we've seen by teams. And some teams who have actually managed to stay up and build their way up very slowly. We seem to have almost said we're just going to skip that entire process and we're just going to go on a Hail Mary and try and build something immediately from coming up, and then almost grab a position that's not 18th, but probably still in the lower half, but up there. I would say probably looking between 12th, 13th, 14th, and then try and build from that. What's your thoughts on how we've approached it, Warren? Do you think we've gone on a completely different route to anybody else who's ever got promoted for the first time before? Or do you think maybe we might have gone a little bit overboard?
I think personally it's a brilliant approach. You know, Mr. Marek stood on the balcony after the playoff final, and he said, you know, don't think we're only going to go up and survive. We are going to go for more than that. And he's backed his words. You know, he's got his checkbook out and he's backed his words. They brought so many brilliant players in. I mean, I was counting up 18 players in, 2 have gone straight out on loan. 12 of those are full internationals. 4 of the others are under 21 internationals. It's insane. The only player who's not an international at any level, surprisingly, and this surprised me when I sort of looked it up, is Lewis O'Brien. Everyone else, even Bian Cohen's got, I think he's under 19. Everyone else, you know, there's so many good players coming in. And people have said, oh, it's the Fulham route and it went wrong. But as we all know, it's not that, you know. So many people have gone out of the club. And plus, we've got to improve the squad. And the Premier League is more and more of a squad game. And we need, I mean, so many times on streams this summer, I've seen people saying, where's this player going to fit into the team? He's not going to sign and sit on the bench, blah, blah, blah. But people will, because they want to come to Forest because of the love that's being shown to them, and they understand it's a squad game, and everyone is going to hopefully get to play a part in that, and Cooper's going to convince them of that. So I think the way we've approached it is bang on. I mean, you look at Bournemouth today. They've sacked, I've lost his name. Who's the Bournemouth manager?
Scott Parker.
Yeah.
Scott Parker.
Yeah, sacked him today. But they've only brought in 5 players, and they've only paid for 2 of those. The others were all free transfers. So, you know, that's the wrong way to approach it. Maybe they had a better squad than us coming into it. But no, I don't think it's the wrong approach. I think it's spot on. And you could see that on Sunday. You know, we are really looking like we belong in this division so far.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I think the performance that we put in on Sunday pretty much solidified that. And I didn't get a chance to kind of directly speak to any Spurs fans after the game or any neutrals going around. But whenever I went on Twitter, I think there was 2 common themes that I saw coming up, especially from Spurs fans. The first one, our support is absolutely incredible. They'd not been to a Premier League game like that for a long time. And they said that the amount of noise that we made, they just didn't expect it. And I think that's going to be a massive feather in our cap throughout the year, and is going to make the City Ground an absolute fortress. And the second one, they just said, we're going to be fine. We don't even need to worry about relegation. So I think although we are technically, as we came up, we were probably going to be one of the favourites to go down, just being the team that came up through the playoffs. I think we've now developed a squad, and once we all fully gel and understand how we want to play, we are going to have a team that can compete. And we saw that on Sunday. It's almost any team in the league. Maybe the first top 4, top 6 might just be a step too far for us at the current stage. But I think we are in a position where any other team that comes to the City Ground, we should be, and rightfully so, probably expecting at least a point. And I think that is where we are going to be able to define our season and be able to stay up in the Premier League, and hopefully not go down for a good few years to come, because I've not waited this long to see him up there to only see him go down the next year or 2. So I think we'll quickly. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No. Sorry. It's just going off that point there, Joe. I listened to there was another podcast where Darren Fletcher was on it. It was after the. Who did we play first?
Newcastle.
It was after the Newcastle game, and a lot of fans on Twitter, you know, all the depression, doom and gloom. A lot of fans come on and were sort of downbeat about it. And Fletch then said, "Let Forest play at home." He said, "I promise you, it will be a different game at home, and it will be exactly what you said there, Joe. When teams come to Forest, it will be a fortress there. It will be players won't want that because they haven't got that. They haven't got that at other grounds, that atmosphere there. You might get it at Leeds, you might get it at Newcastle, you know. But other than and they're difficult teams to beat at home. So yeah, just touching on. And I'm sorry, I'm going off. The point that Steve Cooper makes when he talks is he doesn't say, you know, we're signing this player and we're signing that player to survive. He never talks about surviving. He talks about is competing, and that's what we want to do because we're not here to survive. We're here to compete.
Yeah,
and that's what I like about. That's what I like about when Cooper speaks. You know.
Yeah, no, I think that that's exactly bang on. I think that's pretty much exactly how we are feeling. Although I know we do all kind of have that moment, especially after some of the games that we've had. I know following the Everton game, where we felt like 3 points was in our grasp, and then we only came out with a draw, and that still felt like a disappointment, even though we got a draw away from home in the Premier League. And then I know there was, following that, there was quite a lot of animosity towards one of the players in that back line. And I think someone who might have been on this panel might have suggested that maybe they should sit out the next game. And then, lo and behold, he then gets voted into the Premier League Team of the Week. So, Ez, do you want to talk about that particular performance?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. The point wasn't that about dropping. The point was about the team rotation and taking him out of the firing line if it's affecting his play. And what I wanted him to do is have a really great week in training and come back and prove us all wrong and step up, because that's what he needs to do, and that's what he's done in the past, and that's what we saw from Yatesy as well, especially in that Everton game. He came on, made an impact, and he did exactly what I wanted him to do. So my reverse psychology clearly worked. He was clearly yeah, it works. As long as he got the job. But he is that kind of player. But he will go away. He'll be as harsh on himself as anybody else could be, you know. So it doesn't matter what I say or what anybody else says. He will be his own harshest critic. And he would have walked away from those games knowing that it could have cost us more than a point, more than a couple of points. And then he did what he needed to do. So yeah, I'll stand by what I said, and I'm really proud of the way that he came back and you know, and stepped up. And let's just hope he keeps continuing in that vein of form, because the games don't get any easier tomorrow. But you know, he keeps up that commitment. Strong, and he'll keep stepping up, and that's what he needs to do, because we are on a different level now, you know, and our players need to realise that, and they need to respond to it.
The tackle on Harry Kane. Who in the ground didn't stand up and applaud him when he tackled the England captain, who was probably about to make it 2-0?
Yeah.
It was a thing of wonder.
Yeah.
You know, for those people who were doubting him, I hope they stood up and applauded him. And, you know, I thought he did all right.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think...
I don't think everybody will agree with me, but there you go.
No, I think it was a point of that where I know with the back three particularly, and we've all kind of spoken about it in the past, they're not the quickest back three by any stretch of the imagination, but the amount of effort and determination they made to get back and make those kind of tackles, you could almost see it in the stats, where I know we kind of leaked a lot of shots, but in realistic terms, and a lot of them were not on goal. I think overall there were 7 shots that were on goal, 2 of which were the goals, one of which was an amazing penalty save by Hendo. And then I don't think there was any real one-on-one opportunities for anyone to really get a chance to beat him in the box. And you have to credit that to the centre-backs who are getting back and making that difficult. So I think the way that they played, they bounced back from the kind of difficulties they were having, especially against Everton. And they put in, I don't think any of them really put in, or at least all of them made a good couple of brilliant tackles to stop those opportunities. Some of them with their feet, some of them with their hands, to be able to stop something going into the back post, which maybe should have been a red card, but we'll just ignore that and swiftly move on. So I think we've been going just over half an hour now, and we've got 60 people watching us. So thank you very much for everyone who's taken the time to tune in and watch. It's really appreciated. We kind of just do this as a purely just as fun. It's a massive hobby. All of us love talking Forest. So thank you very much for taking the time to come and watch us. If you wouldn't mind, if you would like be able to just drop us a like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, and then you'll always be able to keep up with what's happening with the channel. And then at this time, we'd like to invite as many people on as they want to come and have their say. So we've put the link and we've pinned it in the comments. So anyone who does want to join us can come in and have their say. And just as I say that, we have someone who's almost ready to go. I can't see their camera on though, so I'm just going to keep on talking and go through some more of the comments. Just want to hear from Davo. Well done. Thank you very much. It's really appreciated. Oh my, get Wolverine. Wolverine, get in and we'll get you on. So I think while we wait for some more people to come in, because the person who was waiting has just dipped out again, I think it's probably a good point to now move away from past what happened on Sunday and start talking about the game that's coming up tomorrow. Possibly one of the hardest games that we're going to have all season, but is it the right time to almost get that game out of the way? We'll quickly bring in our next Mr. James Swain. How you doing?
Hey, all right. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. Thank you very much for joining us. It's good to have you. So we'll quickly ask you about your thoughts on Sunday about the game against Spurs. How did you think the game went?
Yeah, well, pretty well, to be fair. I quite enjoyed it, even if it was a 2-0 loss. I mean, it was a really enjoyable game. The atmosphere coming through my TV, it brought a tear to my eye at the start, even at the start of the game. It was fucking fantastic. Everybody out there just should be putting patting ourselves on the back. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. The game went pretty well. I did notice like a couple of players didn't go fast enough to the box, as that was mentioned on the after half time. But other than that, the penalty save, that was fantastic. Well done, Endo. I think the game went pretty well. Just unfortunate with the 2-0 loss.
Yeah, I think you've really touched on a good point there as well, especially about that save. I know that was probably the loudest the crowd got, and then the way that then drove our players to get forward, and then just unfortunately turned out to be a shot that got deflected wide but didn't get recognised as a deflection. But then the crowd were absolutely on it from that point. You saw Henderson's reaction from making that save. He was waving his cap to every single stand in the crowd, made a massive leap. And I think he's just one of the players. I know that he's on loan, and we've already been scarred from the past of falling in love with loans.
Yeah.
But I think he's one, especially if we keep on treating him the way that we are at the moment, and if we manage to stay up and push ourselves on, who else here would think we might actually have a chance of being able to keep him on and have him England's #1 goalkeeper as a Forest goalkeeper?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I think he's not going back to Manchester United because he's burned his bridges.
Yeah,
and he made it quite clear what he thought about Manchester United. So I doubt Erik ten Hag will have him back. And I think he's already, he's played 4 competitive games for Forest, and it seems like he's been here for 4 seasons. And he looks really happy, So I but I don't think there's an option to buy, is there, from United? So maybe United are kind of hedging their bets, but I'd have him in a heartbeat. I think he's a great lad, a great character. He saved 2 penalties already. He's endeared himself to the crowd, and he replaced a cult hero who we were all sad to see leave. And we were saying at the time, he's an upgrade, but I don't know how many of us were convinced of that. But Dean is a definite upgrade on Brees, and you get into the point where you forget him because he's that reliable,
Yeah, but I feel like it's all that deal for him to have made that interview and said what he said. There must be something already in the pipeline, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. And I think if he's going to go anywhere, he's going to come to us. And have they already? I don't know if they've already signed Dubravka from Newcastle, but he doesn't need. Yeah, exactly. So so they're almost like kind of like.
Does anyone think we might go from? Sorry.
Say again.
As I say, does anyone think we might go from in December? Sorry to interrupt you. Does anyone think we'll go from not December, in January transfer window?
That's what I think possibly will happen, because it is possible from a loan deal to turn into a transfer during the season. So I think that's a possibility. If there's no chance of him going back to Man U, they'd be foolish not to let him leave, and come to the club that he wants to come to. But yeah, I think that's a big possibility, and I've heard it mentioned. So let's hope so, mate. Definitely.
The point that Dave makes about it, that interview was very, very telling. He really did he didn't burn his bridges, blow it up from a distance. And I think we'd be foolish not to maybe have a gamble and chuck an offer in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I fully agree. So I think we'll go from one loan player who we brought in from the Premier League to another loan player that we've brought in from La Liga, Mr. Renan Lodi. I think that's the correct pronunciation. I know I've heard about 3 or 4 different variations of that on every YouTube video that I've watched. I think it's a really it's a statement intent pretty much from Forest to be signing one of the best left backs from the world stage, and is particularly at such a young age, is where he's still developing and getting better. As we alluded to earlier, Kane, maybe you might be able to give us a bit more of an insight as to the player himself, being the Spanish clientele that we've got on stream today. What else do you know about him?
Honestly, I live in Malaga, so I watch the Segunda division. So I watch League 2 division. So I don't really watch much Spanish football. I spend all my time watching the Premier League. But from what I've heard from him from other fans that do, he is a real coup. To have him in the squad, to have that Champions League experience. I believe he scored against Manchester United in the Champions League He set up a goal in the chat. It says a lot. I'm sorry I haven't got any more info. I know I should do. A lot of my friends have a go at me for not learning Spanish as well as I should. But yeah, so I think I'm only going on what I've heard from other people. And from what I've heard, it's only been good feedback. It's got to be good. Man City were after him last season. They turned the bid down. He can't be too bad, can he?
I'm not saying so if they want him.
No. I think it is definitely a statement signing, especially when you named those list of clubs who are interested in trying to sign him as a permanent, and we've managed to get him on a loan with a clause in to buy him at the end of the season if everything's going well. Rads, did you ever think that we might be going from Gaetan Bong at left back a year on Sunday ago to Renan Lodi potentially starting for us sometime this week?
Well, first of all, Gaetan Bong is a hero, absolute legend. Not on the pitch. But, yeah, but very nice guy, but just don't put him on a football pitch. But no, I wouldn't at all. And same goes to all these signings. The rise we've been on is indescribable. How we haven't just gone from bottom of the championship to getting promoted in the same season. We're now all genuinely really quite confident we can survive in the Premier League, and neutrals think the same thing as well, which I think is the best thing. We haven't just come up and everyone's saying. Everyone's saying, "Oh, we're going to go down." Even our own fans. I don't think any Forest fans say that, which is really encouraging. I think rightly so. Don't know a huge amount about Lodi, to be honest, but obviously he's a huge upgrade in what we've had in the past, and I think left back's been an issue for us for a few seasons, to be honest. We've had some decent left backs, but it's great to finally have that position sorted out with. In fact, we've got Toffolo and Omar Richards as well. It's outstanding squad depth. And you've got Nico on the other side. We haven't even seen Bianco playing the Premier League yet. So, it's a pinch yourself moment, I think, to see these caliber of players coming in. And I've seen a comment saying Nico's probably been the best signing. And it's very difficult to pick, but it's an outstanding bit of business. Just hope Bong gets the club because he still hasn't got anyone.
I think that something that someone's been asking in the chat. Who signed him? I don't know. I don't care.
Anyone. He's unattached at the moment. So,
and then also thanks to Nick here as well, who's highlighted a couple of points there. Last month that Man City were after our new left back, and he said that it's pronounced Loggy. Is that how I'm supposed to go with it? Loggy? I'm not entirely sure. But I think you hit on a great point there, Rads, where we've gone from really struggling to find someone to be able to play at left back to now having three excellent options to be able to play in that position, especially when Omar Richards is fit. Warren, how do you think that we're going to go into picking a left back now? We've got such great depth. Do you think we'll go straight into starting our new signing tomorrow, or do you think we might still stick with the tried and tested? Because I know this was a heavily contested topic that we had in the pre-game build-up to the Sunday game.
I really hope you weren't going to ask me this one, because it's who knows? Honestly, it's they're all arguing about it. Well, not arguing, but it was, like you say, it was quite a heated debate on Saturday on your channel, which was good to see. I don't know. It's weird because, as we just said, Bong a year ago, and now we've got three. Once Richards is fit, we've got three really good left backs. Sorry. So who starts? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, has Logie had enough time in the club to get used to the rest of the team, the way Keith wants him to play? I know he's got no English at the moment. So with the way Toffolo's been playing, I would expect he'll start Toffolo tomorrow. I don't know how long it'll be before Lodi or Logie comes in, but I don't know. I personally, I can't call it. It's just great that we've got the choice now. I mean,
Yeah,
in terms of headaches, it's a brilliant headache to have, So that I haven't got a crystal ball. I don't know who's going to start, but
No,
I would feel it's not going to be tomorrow for Logie.
I think although we were a bit split on the panel in the build-up to the game on Sunday, I think we were all in agreement that it's a brilliant predicament and a brilliant, difficult decision to have to make.
Definitely.
And none of us envy the choice that Steve Cooper has to make to be able to name that starting 11. I know I fell in the camp of saying he won't be starting the first game that he's signed. But I think now that I think about it a bit more, now in a point where we're playing 2 games in the space of 3 days, is it the perfect opportunity to give that excuse of we need to rest some legs and make some changes to the starting 11 that started on Sunday? What do you think about that, Dave?
Well, it's a possibility. Like Steve has said, it's a championship week again in a Premier League environment. I'm a bit like Warren, and Warren's head scratching is kind of mine. What I'm thinking about Renan Lodi is, wouldn't it cock a snook at Manchester City tomorrow night to like pop him in when they wanted him? Conte played a little bit of a game with Forest by putting Jed Spence on. Now, if Steve might think, it depends on Renan's fitness and how he is, and I don't know how many games he's played in pre-season. From what I can gather, he's been at odds with Diego Simeone. So, and who seems like a man not to be crossed. He has that reputation. But I probably think Harry will start tomorrow night. But all of a sudden, Harry, who's got a shirt, is probably the one who's got the most breathing down his neck going on. Because I went and sought out this guy on YouTube. And he's a serious individual. He's been in the Brazil side since 2019. Seems like he's their first choice left back. He's only leaving Atletico Madrid because of some kind of personal dispute with the manager. And he is an enormous statement signing from what I can see. And the deal that's been done isn't sort of like adding to this media frenzy about the amount of money we've spent and all this. Highlight reels on YouTube are great to watch. They're not always wholly representative. But the most representative bit of that was that game at Manchester United at Old Trafford, where he almost down that left-hand side ran riot. He scored with a header, but he looked to me like he reminded me of a sort of a Brazilian Stuart Pearce charging forward. Yeah. He looks, potential is really exciting. The only issue, I actually think if he doesn't start tomorrow night, then maybe against Bournemouth, which actually is going to be a real cup tie, because that's one game that we all have to think we need to take points from that. Tomorrow night is a great learning curve. We're up against, an intensely powerful team. We can come away from there tomorrow night. Ideally, a win would be like beyond anybody's wildest dreams. A point would be fantastic. But some respectability would be great. So, it just depends on how his fitness is. If Steve thinks he's had a good pre-season and he's had some game time, then he may say, I'll start you. But my feeling, a bit like Warren, is that I think Harry Toffolo will start tomorrow night. But Harry Toffolo is going to have an enormously difficult job, based on what I've seen and based on the facts and stats about Renan Lodi, to hold on to that shirt. So you may see him. Depending on what happens tomorrow night, Harry Toffolo is probably going to have Riyad Mahrez or Ilkay Gundogan or Bernardo Silva running at him. He's learning. Harry is learning. It's very difficult for Harry. He's come a long way in a short space of time. But if he has a really good game against Manchester City, then Steve might stick with him. But I think we'll see Renan Lodi sooner rather than later, to be honest, Jad.
Yeah, I think one thing that definitely came out of the conversation is, we said it'll be at some point in September where we do see him being our starting left back. I think now is probably a perfect time to bring on his biggest Forest fan, Mr. Wolverine, How you doing, buddy? Good to have you on.
Good, I'm good. My God, do you lot remember Celebrity Squares back in the day?
Who's got the centre square?
Where's Bob Monkhouse, Wolverine?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm showing my age a little there, but
I'm the golden oldie, by the way. Just for anybody who's watching at the start, I'm the golden oldie. All right.
How you all doing? How you all doing?
We're brilliant.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and join us. I thought it was probably a great time to bring you on.
Going. I was editing some videos and watching you guys in the background. They're done already for the Man City preview. But yeah, Lodi's got to start. There's a point everyone's not talking about, right?
Okay.
Lodi has been in one of the most solid defensive units in European football, who play in the Champions League against Barca, Man City, Real Madrid, you name them, Bayern. And week in, week out, Simeone has them drilled in the way that we're going to end up playing tomorrow. He is the best left back, in my opinion, at a defensive formation transitioning forward. He's going to be perfect for this Man City game. But I still don't think Cooper will start him. But I think I would, depending on his fitness. If he's fit, the Man City game is what he's designed for. He will bomb up that field. And what he does better than Tuffalo is he inverts in as well. So when we're attacking down that right-hand channel, what Tuffalo doesn't tend to do is come in on the far post, maybe to receive a header. Now, I know Lodi's only 5'8", but if you remember last year against Man U, he was in at that back post, won the header against Delo, I think it was, off the top of my head, put him in and put him in front. He's just got that class. There's a class difference between him and Tuffalo. You got to think as well, Tuffalo hasn't come across Premier League opposition like this before. Yeah, so it would be a new experience for him. Lodi would go in there unfazed. Now, I'm not saying we will win the game just because of Lodi. I think we'll win the game for other reasons.
Yeah, boy.
Yes.
But you add him into the mix. Maybe Freuler as well on that left-hand CM position. There's Champions League experience down there. And I'd quite like to see a slight tweak in the formation tomorrow. Flood that midfield with a 5. So we're playing a 4-2-3-1. And we need pace. If we put pace in that team tomorrow, that's where Man City will get hurt. Because as weird as it sounds, this game suits us better than the Spurs game. Because Spurs invited us to come out. And then they attacked us against our slow defense. Man City don't care how we will play. They will play how they play, which is their 2 centre-backs will be on the halfway line. Walker, Cancelo will be playing as wingers. If we have that pace ready, I think we need Dennis, Johnson, MG Dub, and then Owoni. I'll probably go Owoni up front. So we're playing the 4-2-3-1. Put that pace there, and we've got a shot.
Do you know what I've been thinking, lads? I was thinking last season Manchester City played without an orthodox sort of typical centre forward. Now, in a way, last year we had Keenan Davis. Now tomorrow night, Forest might go there and play the 3. He may do. It could be any 3 from Dennis, Jesse, Brennan, and Morgan, right? And Forest might go there tomorrow night and almost ape what City did in winning the title last year. Whereas City are now going to play a big centre forward, admittedly a freakish human being up front who is huge and runs really, really fast. So I kind of think it's a slight
Dave, I think he gets
inversion of roles.
I think he gets dropped this week.
What, for rotation in the Champions League?
Yeah, I think that's
out today
something that's been talked about as a potential option. But I think what you were alluding to there, Wolverine, with the 4-2-3-1, I know that's something we've spoken about, and it's something that I would really like to see come out at some point. But whether it's too soon to make that transition, I'm not sure. James, how do you think that we will line up for tomorrow's game against Man City?
I think we'll come strong, if I'm being honest with you. If we play all who we had, but obviously like you lot just said, I'll try and get the 2 new ones in. Is it the 2 new ones? Is it the first one we've had today? I can't remember. Anyway, bring them in and go from that. If in Cooper we trust, let Cooper this off. I don't know too much about it.
One sentiment that all 8 of us on this stream will fully agree in Cooper we trust.
Yeah.
So I know there will be quite a bit of a trans if we did want to play 3 at the back with the 2 wing backs, or if we wanted to try and stick to a more traditional 4 at the back. Kane, what would you like to see us line up like tomorrow? Would you like to see us stick to what we started at with against Spurs, or do you think it might be a good opportunity to trial out that 4 at the back and have more of attacking width?
Yeah, on my train journey home from work, I was actually writing out formations. And with regards to Lodi, I just say his name like Joe Lolly, but it's Joe Lodi. About Renan Lodi. Love you, Lodi. So I think 4 at the back, 3 in the middle with Morgan, Gibbs-White, Johnson have to start for their pace, but we just need that someone in between them. That goal, I would start, and I may get shot for this. I'd let Sam Surridge have a bash. Let Sam Surridge have a bash because he's a finisher. He gets the ball and he runs his absolute nuts off. And I know we've signed a 17 million striker. I know we've got Dennis, but I would, just because he scores goals, he knows where the net is, I'd let him have a go. And if it doesn't work, we played Man City. It's a free hit. But yeah. I think the thing is, I don't want us to change how we play because Cooper's got a system. It works. We've seen it work. We just need that someone to get into the box and shoot and have a pop. That's what I think, Per.
No, I think you hit on a lot of good points there, and I think one point that Rads will definitely agree with is we should be giving Sam Surridge more of a run out, because I know that he tweeted out earlier a bit concerned that maybe he might be going out on a loan. So, would you like to see Sam Surridge start at the game tomorrow, Rads?
Well, I wouldn't complain if he did. I think I can't believe it's being discussed, to be honest, that he'll be loaned out. I see why, in one respect, that we have signed Dennis and obviously Awani. Johnson is essentially a striker most of the time, so maybe you can see why. But then if we're to let Surridge go, it's one less option. And ultimately, I think he's an incredibly good finisher. Like some of the goals he's scored, I think in fact every goal he's scored for Forest has just been top class. And I know it was against Grimsby, but you look at both those goals he scored last week, they were just, excellent and really well worked. To be honest, I think against Spurs, and I think it was good that we played Gibbs-White and then Lingard and then Johnson, all really, really young, creative, exciting players, but I kind of felt like we missed that physical presence up front that you'd get with Awani and Dennis as well. So I'd probably pick one of those two, maybe Awani. Only if Dennis is probably, he's more familiar with the Premier League right now anyway. So Awani, I think probably playing one of those two would be better than Surridge in this game. Only, I'm a big fan of Surridge, and I certainly don't think we should be getting rid of him at all. And, I had the pleasure of meeting. I had the pleasure of meeting Sam's dad actually before the Spurs game, and he was just saying how much Surridge loves Forest and how much he wants to stay at the club, and how he has actually apparently had Championship clubs phoning him up saying, "Come to us on loan," and apparently Forest and him are not interested, which is what we want to hear. But with regards to the whole lineup, I'd probably keep. And I know Lodi will probably start it in the long run. Maybe he won't be ready for tomorrow. I don't really mind who we go with. But I'd probably play Awani or Dennis up front just for that battering ram like we had with Keenan last season. But in Cooper we trust whatever we go with.
In Cooper, I don't trust on everything. Injuries, man. I mean, is anyone expecting Mangala to start tomorrow? Because I am.
Medical mind games. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I fully agree. Kane, were you? Did you want to make a point there about what Rads had say?
Yeah, just saying what a beautiful predicament that we have to go into this and have this discussion with the amount of players that we have. You could almost play the game that they do on the Saturday Social, where you've got to name the amount of teams in the Premier League, and you've got to go, well, how many players can you name that at Forest? Well, I can name 10. I can name 11. All right, name them. Like
Yeah.
we've got so many, and it's
Yeah.
and I've just seen on Twitter now. We've just had the bid accepted for Willy Bolly for 2.5 million. You know, it's just another one to add to the mix. This time last year, we were cacking ourselves in case Lewis Grabban got injured. You know, we were making do with Jack Colback at left back. You know what I mean? And what a job he done. And it's a shame that he's gonna get moved on. It's football. It's one of them. Thank you very much to the Ginger Prince. But he's got to, you know, we've got to move on. We've got to progress as a club, you know, and it's just it's exciting. I'm just excited to see us play tomorrow against the world's best football team.
In September of last year, on a Sunday, we were bullied by Aidan Flint in Cardiff City, and we were pretty timid and tepid. On the Wednesday night, we lost to Middlesbrough, and most of the crowd were talking amongst themselves and watching the game. They didn't dare even look at Chris Hughton. If somebody had said to me driving away from that Middlesbrough game last night, where we all had our fingers crossed that Chris Hughton, lovely man, poor manager, was on his way, would have said to me that you will go to the Etihad on August the 31st, 11 months from now. And I said, are you taking LSD? Are you taking ketamine? What are you doing? We're now taking on what I consider to be the best football team on the planet. And the beauty of our manager and the attitude and the philosophy that he's instilled is that Forest will go there tomorrow, a little rebel team from a rebel city, and say, well, we don't care who you are. We're going to play with our identity, and then you have to deal with it. And I think where we've come, it's miraculous. No other team has gone so far in in 10 minutes like we have. There are going to be times where the acceleration of that progress is halted, but it will still go on. So we do need to have a bit of patience. Our lads are on an educational curve in the most difficult classroom in football. And it's going to take some time. But what a fantastic thing for fans, for the team, for the coaches. Steve's going to go up against Pep Guardiola tomorrow night. I mean, and I watched Pep's presser today, and Pep is not underestimating Steve and his brain and his motivational capabilities, or the team, or the Red Army that's going to come and make it loud in that stadium. Because my guess is it's going to be another of those stadiums where the stadium almost smothers the noise of the home fans, and you'll hear Forest and Magic most of the night. So
it's not the stadium. Man City Stadium is never packed, and there's never a noise in it. I've been there before. I'll be there tomorrow in Man City and undercover, but with my Man City kid. But yeah, the noise and so on. And just to put on that point, Southampton have just taken the lead against Chelsea. Anyone can beat anyone right now.
Yeah.
So can I just say something? Do you remember last season when we played Liverpool in the FA Cup and how tight we bleeding was? And obviously they got one past us. If we can do that with the old players last season, we could do it with Man City this season. You know what I mean? We've got something to prove this time, and we're going to come for them.
Yeah,
I think Mitrovic has scored as well.
If anything, Steve's put Chris Sutton's prediction up on the changing room wall, because it's another exercise in the complete lack of any reality.
Yeah,
6-0 on the BBC. Utterly insulting and disrespectful. So again, if I'm Coops, I'm saying that's what he says. Go and prove him wrong,
Yeah, I think we've all really hit on a lot of points there where tomorrow's game is theirs for the taking. We have all said it's a free hit, but we should also fully accept that we can get something out of it. And we know that, like James said there, the Red Army is going to be a massive contributor for that. And we've got our next and final guest to try and join in quickly, who is probably one of our favourite members of the Red Army. Eve, you ready? Here we go.
Hi.
Hi, Eve. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Hi, Eve.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for coming on. It's lovely to have you on.
Okay. That's
now
okay.
it's celeb squares. Now we're even 3-3-3.
So thank you very much for coming on. Quickly, just want to talk about the game on Sunday. What did you think about how Forest played?
I thought we played really well, and I thought we were unlucky not to even score a goal on Sunday. I was really impressed with how we played. So yeah, I was so impressed with the players and how we played.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I think every player played really well, and we were very unlucky to not quite get that goal that we quite probably did deserve to try and get, especially with the amount of possession and around the box that we had as well. So hopefully, maybe tomorrow we might be able to get that goal. How do you think it's going to play out tomorrow, Eve?
I don't know. I really want us to win tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get my hopes up too high that we'll win, because I don't want to be like disappointed after the game. So if we win tomorrow, I can see us nicking it like 1-0. But if we lose tomorrow, I think we'll probably lose like 2-1 or something like that. So
you definitely sound hopeful that someone from the Forest 11 is going to be able to grab a goal at the Etihad. Who are you hoping that's going to be then?
I don't know. I would like Johnson to score, but I would like someone else to score who hasn't scored for us yet. Maybe like Jesse Lingard or something like that.
Yeah. Lingard would be good to score.
Yeah.
Definitely. He needs one. He needs one for the confidence and just to sort of get people off his back as well.
Yeah. Oh, I would love Joe Worrell to score.
We all would.
Yeah, I think I definitely echo that. I'd love Jessie to get off the score sheet against arguably the best team in the league at their ground. I think that would be a massive statement for us to be able to make. So I think I'll hand it over to the rest of the panel. Who else thinks that maybe we might be able to nick a goal and possibly be able to take a draw or a win?
Go ahead. Well,
Wolverine thinks 5.
Yep.
Right.
5-2 to Forest.
You're gonna be...
MG Dub hat trick. Brennan's gonna get one, and Dennis. Wait, is that 5? Yeah, that's 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wolverine, can I ask you? You're going to the game, right?
Yep.
When
In
you
City End.
when you chant the Muller Kintyre, you're sitting with the Man City fans, aren't you?
Yep.
Stand up. Get up there, stand up and sing it.
Look, there'll be no one around me. It's always empty in that stadium. It's fine.
The will be packed out.
There's no pressure on Forest because we have been completely written off. But the cognoscenti have just decided in their finite wisdom that we have no chance. So we can go and enjoy it. We can go and play our football. You know, I mean, the one thing you can guarantee is that our manager, who I still think is our greatest asset, he doesn't think we can get beat. He thinks we can win, because if he doesn't think we can win, then we might as well all not bother. So I watched his presser today. I'm sure all of you watch his presser, and he's so brilliant. He's almost brilliant in what he doesn't say as much as what he does say. And I think for him tomorrow night, I think he can't wait to get at it, and he'll have our lads feeling the same. Now, I remember Leeds going there a couple of seasons ago as a newly promoted side, Leeds winning 2-1. So why can't we do it? We've got pretensions not to be a Norwich or a West Bromwich Albion or a Fulham or a Watford and be one of these teams that belongs in neither division. Why can we not go there and think, well, hey, we're Nottingham Forest. We've got a great following behind us. Let's make them happy.
Just look what Palace did to them. Look how Palace played against them. Palace tired out. They gassed out, but we got a younger, fitter squad. If we press them high, those two centre-backs, it'll probably be Stones and Diaz. They haven't got pace in them, and they play a high line. Yeah, if we press them high, we're going to get chances. We will get chances. The question is, can the defense hold out? That's my biggest worry. Yeah, I think we'll get chances, but I think it could go one of two ways. Either it ends up being a Newcastle all over again, where we're just defending with 8 men and just punting the ball forward to no one, or we've learned from that. We hold our line on the edge of the box. I don't want us up at the halfway line like against Spurs or in the Spurs half, like in some instances. But the defensive line will be deeper, and that will take out the problem of the lack of pace we have at the back. which will play into our hands. If we can get those channel balls, McKenna is one of the best passers into the channel from the back.
Yeah,
and he can. I mean, he got MG Dub in the other day. We nearly scored from that. Yeah, Worrell. Yes, I've criticized him, but when he's on his game, the channel pass as well into Brennan down the right, he can do that as well. We've got options. We're a better team than we were last year. Once this formation gels, once the players know when to ping it, when to play short, when to go for the 1-2s, it's going to work. This is a better opportunity than most Forest fans realize, that they're playing with no pressure as well. You add that into the equation, and there's a formula for an upset. And we're going to.
And this is the best Forest team for 23 years, and it's a team of strangers. Now, the way they're hanging together, and I think they've learned the lesson from Newcastle, because the games that have followed Newcastle have not been like it at all. They were all rushed off their feet against Newcastle. It was all happening so quickly, and I just think that there's still going to be some getting to know you, but I think the cohesion and the organisation and the infrastructure in that team at the moment, while it's still burgeoning, is still really, really good. And I think, like he says, City is. I think John Stones is very get-atable. He to me, if you're going to pick anybody, I mean, I'm sure City will target members of our 11, but if Stones starts tomorrow night, I think Brennan, Morgan, Emmanuel, Jesse, whoever, they can have some joy against him.
Can I tell you who I honestly think the weak link is? The weak link at Man City is their goalkeeper. I think he's dodgy as I won't swear, but I just think he's got a mistake or three in him every single game. If he gets from what I've seen and what I've watched of him, he just always seems a little bit panicky if the ball comes to him at his feet. Hopefully we get it to his feet quite a lot, but I just think, I don't know. I think that, it would be their keeper that'd be the most dodgiest player, I suppose. But I just think that he's got a mistake or two in him. I think if we can put a little bit of pressure on him, if we get the odd corners and free kicks and things like that, who knows?
I think what Dave says is spot on. It's Stones, and in a way, it's Walker as well. But the thing with Walker, he gets forward a lot. He's got recovery pace to cover for himself to get back.
Yeah. He has.
If we've got pace that's outpacing him, like a Lodi coming and overlapping, or maybe we're going to put Dennis down the left wing, then he's going to struggle to make up the ground that he would normally make up. So it's one of those ones, man. They just got to get it right. The defense has to hold strong, and then we got to hit him hard on the counter. We haven't seen much of the counter attacks that we saw last season. That's what's been missing for me from this formula this year. We started to see little glimmers of it in the Spurs game, that McKenna ball into MG Dub, the counter attack where MG Dub had Brennan overlapping, but Brennan just didn't get in front of him for some reason. And then he curved the ball round to Lingard. There's glimmers of it, but this will be our best chance because we'll have space to work in behind them once they're high up the pitch.
Yeah. Well, Tottenham inverted the roles. We ended up having the majority of possession.
When was the last time you saw that?
And then hitters. When I looked at the possession stats as I walked out the City ground, I think we were on something like 58 and Tottenham at 42. So I don't know, I may be wrong, but it's
You're
in
right,
that.
It's higher than that during the game. We were
so Tottenham were quite happy.
Point,
Tottenham. I thought why Forest were clever on Sunday was that by not playing a 1-year, Eric Dyer wanted a physical challenge. He didn't want to have to come and search for Jesse and Morgan and Brennan. So I thought that was quite clever. But tomorrow night's going to be great. And I can't believe how foresty Eve is. She's covered in forestness. Look at her. She looked amazing. How much forest stuff have you got in that room, Duck?
I don't know.
Tons of it.
The whole store.
Yeah, well, I think while we've got you on, Eve, I think it's almost become a custom now every time that you join us, and we are very grateful to have you on almost every time that we do a stream. It's absolutely lovely to always have you on. We know that you've always got some drawings pretty much waiting in the wings. So have you got any that you'd like to show us for this evening?
I've got a couple of drawings. I've got this one of Sam Surridge, which I did. Don't know if anyone can see it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Love it.
Wait, we got a sponsor now. on the show.
From last
He
season.
knows something we don't.
That was at the Wembley. That was at the final when we went up, and he was holding something in his hand. So I thought that was a good thing for me to draw. So
Definitely, yeah. I think, is that one that you put up on Twitter?
Yeah, and his
earlier on, and I think it got some recognition, didn't it? From
his
someone from the Surridge
Phil
family.
His dad Phil has said that he will get Sam to sign it for me. So which is really nice. And I've got another drawing to share. I did this on Saturday. I don't know if anyone can see it.
Just about, can you bring it a bit closer?
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's good.
Michael Dawson, yeah, because we were playing against Tottenham the next day, and he played for both clubs. I thought to myself, it's only fair if I draw a player who played for both clubs.
Brilliant.
Definitely, they're brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing those with us. And I know Warrington dipped out there, so we'll bring him quickly back in.
Well, Joe, speaking of defenders, as Dawson there, what's everyone's thoughts on Bolly?
Well, I saw you shaking your head. I don't think he solves the problem of pace. He's tough. He's a hot, he's a no nonsense defender, and probably more in the mode of a Worrell and or a Cook, but doesn't solve the problem of the pace, lack of pace at the back, and doesn't replace Niakate, in my opinion. So at the price, I wouldn't worry too much, but it's a weird one for me. It seems purely as a cover up. His pace and his age doesn't seem to fit what we were going for. So I don't know what everybody else thinks on it, but I think I'm with Wolverine on this one, where we're not 100% happy about it. I don't think it was the best option we had of it, but was available. But maybe it was the only one they could get in. Who knows?
I think with this sort of signing, it's let's see what happens. Because we've been happy with everything else, right? So one in 20 is not bad, right? For us to go, I don't know about this one. 1 in 20 is not bad. When we signed Jed Spence last season from Middlesbrough, how many of us looked and went, don't know. Well, I've never really seen him. Is he any good? My word, what a hero!
Yeah.
So it depends if he plays well and it comes and has a great game. He's loved, and he's if he's rubbish, if he's no good, we've got the backup for it. What it is it keeps that competition going. Yeah. If Worrell has a bad day, or if Worrell's got a cold, or remember these guys are human beings as well as footballers. If something happens, something could happen at home with families, and they need a day off. They have to have that replacement there to be able to slot in. All right.
I don't think the point is that we think he's rubbish. I think he's a very good defender. I just don't think he solves the problem of lack of pace, which seems to be one of the big issues. But I think he's a very good defender, no doubt about it. And he will certainly have been somebody who's going to give 100% when he does put the shirt on. But whether it solves that issue that we've got at the moment, or we'll be looking at a different way of playing from now on, we can only guess at what Coop has in mind. But he's another addition, isn't he? And we're being
There's two things as well that have annoyed me about it. One, I didn't like his attitude about, because he was named on the squad sheet, wasn't he? And just didn't turn up.
That's disappointing. Yeah,
he's 31 years old. Who does he think he is? MG Dub or something. MG Dub didn't even have a transfer request, and he went through it all professionally and everything. This guy, 31-year-old, he's going to end up being a backup defender. Acting like that is a little sus. Second thing, I don't know how true it is. I'm hearing he's got long COVID and he's not fully recovered from it, and there's a bit of sickness around that as well.
No, he's not been in the Wolves side for a long time, has he?
Yeah.
And my view is that of the 20 signings, probably the one that has caught my imagination the least. I'm almost a bit like, well, can't Cheku Kayati do what he does? And to me, if Bruno Lage hasn't been picking him, and it's got to the point where his attitude is questionable, but then again, we come back to our manager and we have to trust him. So maybe Steve and Dane, we're completely outside the club. I don't know what goes on within the environs of the City ground. So they may see something. And they've been generally, through last season and this season, they've been generally hitting targets. Now, maybe they see something like, I spoke to a Wolves fan today, actually, who said he's a decent lad, him, but I'm thinking, I want a young hip gang. I do. I want like a crime hip hop team. That's like really cool. Let's go with young guys. You know what I mean? And Bolly, to me, if he's going to come in, I don't think he's going to get that many games. I don't know. He may prove me wrong. I really hope he does. I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But in terms of,
I think the main issue with this is he's come in to replace Niakata while he's injured. Yeah, so it's a temporary solution. We still don't solve the solution of the lack of pace with our backup, with our front. Worrell's not quick enough. McKenna's not quick enough. Cook's not quick enough. And there are players on the market, LaCroix and Dicker, Dinier's free on a free transfer as well. All of these are quality centre backs. Most of them are coming from the Bundesliga. Look what we've picked up with Niakata. These other two are very similar players to him. LaCroix's at the moment at like I think 17 mil euros. You're looking at 15 mil. It's still cheap for the quality you're getting. Dinier from Lyon, he's been released. He's on a free. He could do a job. Yeah. Bolly for me is a quick term fix for a long term problem.
Well, hopefully it's a short-term problem. I think that might be the thinking because we're hearing lots of rumours about Niakate's injury and how long it might take.
Shorter than everyone's saying, yeah.
Say again?
Yeah, it's shorter than everyone's saying.
Days and weeks now rather than months.
Yeah. Maybe it's just a short-term solution and we might have Niakate's back sooner than before. But there's another name, Trevor Chalobah, which I don't know what his situation is. But say again? Okay. So I mean, but there were options out there. So I think hopefully it means that it's more of a short-term solution rather than a long-term solution because he's not a long-term solution, is he really? So it's an interesting one, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. Does anybody think that will change at the middle too? Because I've got a feeling that Mangala's not as injured as. You know, I mean, it was surprising not to see him in the squad at all on Sunday, but I have a feeling he'll start tomorrow and possibly with Freuler in the middle too. Anybody else think that or think we'll do something slightly differently?
Freuler, O'Brien for me. I think Yates needs a little more rest time. I don't think he's fully fit coming back from a pretty, heavy injury. I think Freuler is the right player for this game. The pace of the game will be right for him. The experience against this level of player is in his back pocket. And then O'Brien just to attach himself to KDB for the whole match. Follow him like a terrier and do not let him control the game. Then someone's going to have to figure out what we do with Bernardo Silva. Then there's Mahrez, and then Foden.
Gundogan.
We've got a little guy, a little fat lad who'll turn him inside out.
Yeah.
I think
what a great prospect.
It's definitely going to be a difficult one tomorrow, but I'd like to see, just as we try and close out, we'll try and finish off just before 9 o'clock. So thank you again, everyone, for being part of this panel.
Been a pleasure.
Great stream as always. We'll work from the bottom right and then work our way back up towards Ez and myself. So Eve, game for tomorrow, what's your prediction? And everyone who's watching, we've still managed to retain about 50 people throughout the stream, so thank you so much for everyone who's been sticking with us throughout this entire stream. If you want to put your score predictions down in the chat as well, I'll make sure I keep on firing them up as we all work our way through. So Eve, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I think tomorrow I don't want to. Each time I make a prediction, each time I say that we win, we end up doing the total opposite. We end up losing. So I don't want to say that we'll win. So I'm just going to say that we'll draw. We'll draw 1-1 tomorrow.
Take that. I'll take it.
I think that's a great result there. Who do you want to score for Forest there with that one goal?
I want Lingard to score.
Good shout.
That's a great answer. Right, Wolverine, what's your prediction for tomorrow then, mate?
Before I give my prediction, right, I'm just looking. There's 52 and 26 likes, guys.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Hit the like button, man. It's free to do. What you waiting for? Just stop being lazy. Stretch that finger across. Press that like button. Support the boys. They're doing an awesome job. There we go. Some people are pressing it. Thank you.
Cheers,
My score
mate.
prediction, and I mean it. And I've got a video coming out in 3 minutes, by the way. Quick little plug on the match preview. It's going to be 5-2 to Forest. We're going to win. Coop's going to get the tactics right. Man City are going to play too high. We're going to kill him for pace and behind. I hope to God the defense can hold it together for 90, but they'll concede 2, but we'll score 5.
You're going for that one, aren't you?
I think that one. If you
on
that,
that,
I think you might have a cheeky little one on that, and you get great odds on a 5-2. So, Dave, what do you think the result's going to be tomorrow?
I think City will win 2-0, but I think Forest will make it very difficult for them and come away with a lot of credit and further this really good impression that we've made since the Newcastle game. So I think basically what you've got the finished article against a fantastic work in progress. I mean, if you're a neutral, it's probably
which is the finished article, Dave?
Manchester City.
Oh, okay, sorry, I had it the other way around.
They are the champions when all's said and done. And for us, I mean, our lads, what a great prospect for us as fans and them as players and the coaches. And I think that nothing but good can come out of tomorrow night, as long as we don't end up doing what Bournemouth did on Saturday. If we come out tomorrow, whatever happens after tomorrow night, we'll have learnt a fantastic lesson to take us into Bournemouth, Leeds and Fulham, which in the greater scheme of things they're our bread and butter matches that we have to win. And I just think I think City will be too strong, but I think lots of good will come out of it.
Yeah, I think
you got to put some numbers to all that spiel.
Numbers? How do you mean numbers? What kind of numbers do you want? Algorithms, biorhythms.
Whatever gives us the scoreline, Dave. Don't sit on that fence.
No, I do. I just don't think. I mean, Heart says Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 5 every day of the week. But logic suggests that we'll put up a good show and we'll get beat.
Yeah. Logic means nothing.
In my world, it does.
So we've had a draw from Eve. We had Wolverine saying we're going to absolutely stand City. Yeah, and then Dave speaking more from his head. Rads, what's your prediction for tomorrow?
I'm just an old fart. Wolverine's a hit young dude. I'm just an old fart who's desperate to go to the toilet in a minute.
I'm probably more on Dave's page than Wolverine's. I mean, I love your ambition.
Dave, Dave, come on, Rads, man. What?
Love your ambition. I mean, if it comes true, then massive credit to you. But what we can guarantee is we will go there and we will put up a fight and we'll make it difficult for them, because I just can't see Forest going there and just letting City do what they want to do. We will, at the very least, go there, make a good show for ourselves, and I think it will be probably similar to how the Spurs game was in ways, but it's obviously City at the next level up. So I think probably 2-0 to City, but they'll have to work for it. I'd obviously love it if we could get even a point from Man City, but I think we have to look at the bigger picture. Like I said earlier, like our season is not defined by playing these big teams. It's 38 games ultimately, and I think it's also good that after this City match, and especially after losing to Spurs, we do have more winnable games coming up, literally like Bournemouth, and then we've got Fulham, Leeds, Villa. They're a lot more winnable, and there's some teams there like Bournemouth and Villa that aren't looking very good, and we've got to be taking the advantage on them. So yeah, it's a massive learning curve, I think, again for us tomorrow, but there are more opportunities coming up, I think, for us to get points.
Yeah, definitely. I see the full sound logic there from you, Rads. So James, what's your prediction, mate?
My answer says 1-1. My head says 2-1. It's going to be a tight game. it's the same as I said earlier on. Like we managed to keep Liverpool on the toes last season in the FA Cup. So why can't we do it to Man City? It's going to be hard, but I'm going to say 1-1.
We beat Arsenal, don't forget. Leicester.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna beat them. Yeah.
Liverpool, Liverpool, VAR. They bent the lines. That's the only reason they beat us. So.
Right, yeah, we'll come on to the final three then. Kane, what's your prediction for tomorrow, buddy?
My prediction is we'll go 2-0 up and then we'll lose 3-2. And it'll go.
I got excited.
Man City will do it for the 7th game running. They'll go 2-0 down and they'll lose 3-2. And we will lose 3-2. That's just my feeling.
That's just the past repeating itself.
And Mrs. next to me, she thinks Forest are going to win 2-1, Lingard and Morgan Gibbs-White. But that's because she knows it will just make me happy.
Right, that's great. So, Ez, do you want to give us the penultimate prediction for tomorrow?
My heart would say Wolverine spot on. My head would, and I'm gonna ignore what my head says. I don't want to be negative. I don't ever want to predict, even when I know it's likely. I don't ever want to predict a defeat Forest. Just so I don't have to do that, I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. So I'm not going to predict.
Fence it up.
So many splinters, mate. It's unbelievable.
Right, so I think we've had pretty much an even split between.
Wait, Joe, before you start, if you say the words free hit, Ez, kick him off. No such thing as a free hit in the Premier League. We've earned the right to play them. We've earned the right to play them. It's not a free hit.
All right, so we do all have to accept the fact that tomorrow's game is a.
However, it is properly celebrity squares now, honestly.
I think we all agree that Forest are going to show up and show their colours. We are all going to play to our best, and I do think we are going to be able to grab a couple of goals. I just think City's attack. I know that Kane and Son are probably the best two, the best pairing out there. But I think as an overall unit throughout their attacking midfield, they're just going to be too much for us. And I think that even if we score 2, they'll score 3. If we score 3, they'll find a way to score 4. So I'm going to go with a 3-2 City. I think we might take the lead at some point and we'll all get very hopeful and have a great glimmer of maybe we are going to take 3 points from the Etihad. But I think the main thing that's going to come out of tomorrow is we are going to be a team that shows exactly what we can do. And I would love Jesse Lingard to finally contribute a goal and an assist tomorrow. I think that'd be perfect. And then come out with 3 points. At least we'll all come out with a feeling that we are growing together as a team. So,
way to end it on a negative, bro. Thanks. You just killed the mood.
I've ended it on a negative that I've spun into a positive. So I think that's probably the best way to go. And then come next weekend on Saturday, I have no doubt in my mind that we'll come away with a clean sheet and at least 2 or 3 goals. But
really?
We'll talk about that.
You lot are talking about the Bournemouth one like it's a given. New manager rule. Come on.
We'll talk about that one. We'll talk about that stream coming up.
I'd rather Parker be in charge on Saturday, but there you go.
Yeah. So we'll definitely... And on that note,
I'm gonna have the neighbours banging on the door.
But yeah, but thank you everybody. Honestly, thank you so much for all the new guys on here today as well. It's great to finally get you on, Rads and Kane. Thank you for joining us today, and shout out to our content creators. So everybody, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow Wolverine, follow Rads, follow James Swain. They're doing their own thing and they're doing great things. So follow them and support them. Dave, always great to have you on. Sorry, I don't know what happened to Warren, but I'll get in contact with him. It was great.
I'm glad it did, Warren. You're usually positive. You've gone 2-1 to City in the chat. I can see it. Me and you need words, mate.
And Eve, as always, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your photos, pictures with us, and showing your enthusiasm with us as well. The thumbs have got to be out, Eve. Get the thumbs out. The thumbs
No,
that's the one.
Bless you. Thank you so much. But Joe, yeah, I'll let you finish off the show. And thank you so much for hosting a show today. You were brilliant, my friend. Absolutely fantastic.
Not a problem. I think it was a nice chance to give it a go. So we'll see how it goes in the future. Maybe we'll do it more of an alternating. But it's been great fun, especially with having so many panelists on. I think it's been a great chat between all of us. So I'll definitely make sure for all of those that are watching this video, hopefully you're all saying that Wolverine was correct and we did absolutely pummel Man City 5-2. But in any case, I'll make sure that everybody here who's been on the panel has been absolutely critical to making this such a great stream. I'll make sure I'll drop all of their links to all of their social medias, their Twitters, their YouTubes. They'll all be in the description. So please drop them a follow on Twitter, drop them a subscription on YouTube. They all do amazing stuff. So thank you to everyone who's been watching us throughout. We've been going for an hour and a half. It's been absolutely brilliant. I can't wait for tomorrow, and I can't wait to do another stream with these wonderful people. So once again, to close up, thank you very much. And Kane, do you want to close us out again?
You ready?